We're going to call this meeting to order of the Kaneland School District. We would like to inform all board meeting attendees that this meeting is being live streamed and archived for access at any time by our community members on the internet within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting's conclusion. And if you could stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There it is.
All right, roll call.
Mrs. Barber.
Here.
Mrs. Junk.
Here.
Mr. Carey.
Here.
Mrs. Pavlak.
Here.
Mr. Rivas.
Awesome. Good.
Mrs. Witt.
Here.
And Mr. Lawler is absent.
So there's a quorum with 6 members present. Is there anything anyone would like to move from the consent agenda to new business?
No, thank you.
No.
All right, so then we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. And a roll call.
Mr. Carey.
Aye.
Mrs. Pavlak.
Aye.
Mr. Rivas.
Aye.
Mrs. Barber.
Aye.
Mrs. Witt.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0, and the superintendent salutes. Right?
Yes. Did you want to start with yours? Or
Oh,
do you
sure.
want me
I
to?
can start with mine. So the board does have a salute tonight. Today, across the Kaneland School District, our schools have taken time to honor veterans, and our schools have a lot of longstanding traditions to honor veterans, such as hosting them for breakfast, hosting them in assemblies, and writing letters to military personnel. So we would just like, the board would like to take an opportunity to thank any veterans that we might have with us. So if by chance we have any veterans here, if you could rise or sit.
Or wave.
So none. But we would just...
Previously standing, already standing.
But we would like to recognize definitely all those veterans. I know we have some that work in our buildings with us every day, and our extended community as well. We'd like to recognize them tonight. So now on to you.
Thank you. Yes, this Thursday, I think it marks the 14th annual School Board Members Day, and so we take a moment this week, generally each year, to thank our board members for their hard work and dedication. Just as in tonight's board meeting, our board members attend over 20 board meetings per year, serve on committees, just finished up speak negotiations. We'll be starting KEA soon. There's Kishwaukee dinners and division meetings that we attend. There's FAC, CAC, Foundation, Hall of Fame. There's a number of committees that our board members serve on tirelessly and give of their time and dedication in a volunteer position, which is always makes it even more impressive. So as you'll see in front of each one of their places tonight, we did get a cookie, a large cookie for each board member. Luckily tonight I think will be a shorter board meeting, so you won't have to break into them as part of the meeting. But so we'd like to say thank you. And in addition, we put together a video. I contacted Bradley Staker here at Harder and asked him if he would put together a video, because each year we get a long memorandum that says whereas. So I thought instead of just reading that to our board members, I thought maybe Bradley Staker and his video production class, who does a great job with everything that they do, if they would put something together. He said they would, and if Dr. Fuchs would hit play, you'll be able to see Mr. Staker's work. And again, this is to honor our school board members.
Condoleezza Rice says, "Great leaders never see the world as it was and always work for the world as it should be." November 15th will mark the 10th official statewide observance of School Board Members Day in Illinois. This is an opportunity for the district and community to thank school board members for their commitment in providing a local governance voice for your education decisions.
Whereas school board members are elected to sit in trust for their diverse communities, and in that capacity are charged with meeting the community's expectations and aspirations for the public education of their children. And whereas school board members are entrusted with the guardianship and wise expenditure of scarce tax dollars, and they are responsible for maintaining and preserving the buildings, grounds, and other areas of the school district that the community has put in their trust. And whereas school board members are responsible for providing leadership that ensures a clear, shared vision of public education for their schools that sets high standards for the education of all students and requires the effective and efficient operation of their districts. And whereas school board members adopt public policy to give voice to that leadership and employ a superintendent to administer board policy, and are also responsible for the regular monitoring of the district's performance and compliance with state policy. And whereas school board members selflessly volunteer countless hours to public service with no compensation,
and whereas employers are supportive to their employees who serve as school board members, generously lending support and time. Employers give their employees the opportunity to better serve the needs of the school district and communities they represent through sometimes tremendous sacrifice to the employer.
Whereas decisions made by school board members directly impact the quality of life in our communities, placing them as the front line of American democracy. Therefore be it resolved by us, the Kaneland community, that we proclaim November 15, 2018 as School Board Members Day, as a way to honor those citizens who devote their time and energy for the successful education of our children.
Thank you! Thank you, Kaneland 302 Board of Education, for all that you do.
So today, we thank you. Your leadership in our community and our schools begins with all of your tireless dedication. Arnold Glasow said, "A good leader takes a little more than their share of blame and a little less than their share of credit." And this couldn't be more true than all of you. Thank you.
Members, I just want to take a second to thank you for your hard work and dedication and appreciation for Board Member Appreciation Day. It's coming up on November 15th, so thanks again for volunteering your time, your talents, and your effort on behalf of the entire district. So thank you again.
Thank you for being leaders. Well, School Board, we just want to take this opportunity to thank you all for everything that you do for our school and for everything that you do for the community. So once again, thank you for everything, and also,
gracias por todo.
I'd like to take a moment to thank the Kaneland School Board for all of the time and dedication that the school board members put into making Kaneland School District a better place for all of our students and staff. Thank you.
Thank you for our education. Okay, Grade Blue Team would like to say thank you for your service to our community and to our school.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and dedication to the Kaneland community.
Happy Board Member Appreciation Day. Thank you for making Kaneland an excellent place due to your guidance, advocacy, and direction.
So on behalf of the community, thank you.
So cute.
Thank you, we'll be posting that tomorrow. We didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon, but we'll be posting that up tomorrow and keeping that on the website for a while. So again, thank you on behalf of our district to all of our board members. So thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias. That's all I had.
That's all you have?
Yes.
All right. So next will be the consent agenda. Tonight the consent, oh wait, no, it will not be. Public comment. I'm jumping ahead. All right, so rules for public comment. I was so distracted by the video. The board values public input to inform our decision making and provide information and insight into what is happening throughout the district. Board meetings are held to conduct the business of the Board of Education and are required by law to take place in public. However, they are not public forums. We use the public comment section as an opportunity to listen to our stakeholders. For that reason, the board does not enter into debate or respond to questions spontaneously or without proper investigation and deliberation. In most cases, concerns or questions requiring follow-up will be referred to the superintendent. If you choose to speak publicly, we ask that you stand, state your name and village of residence or your association with us for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less so that all who wish to speak may have that opportunity. You are encouraged to seek a private appointment to discuss matters concerning individual students or staff members. While public education can be an emotional issue, and understandably so, the board strives to maintain a certain level of decorum at the meeting. Those who speak are expected to maintain a tone of courtesy and civility. The floor is now open to public comment. And if you have public comment, if you could go to the microphone, that would be great.
Hi, my name is Timmy. I am a second grader. My school is John Square Elementary, and I want to read you a petition. I was terrified when I was in the bathroom when the power went out. It was pitch black. We should put emergency lights in every single bathroom in the school. Sign here if you agree to put emergency lights in every single bathroom in the school. All of second grade signed it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and are there any other public comments? No? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda tonight consists of the following action items: the approval of the Treasurer's Report October 2018, approval of minutes of the October 29th, 2018 regular meeting, approval of resignation and employment of staff, approval of destruction of audio recordings from closed session meetings from April 2017, approval of school improvement plan, approval of Fox Valley Career Center fees for use of Kaneland facilities, approval of facility planning committee bylaws, and the following informational items: the student suspension data report, the Freedom of Information Act request report, the first quarter professional development update. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Second. And a roll call.
Mrs. Pavlak.
Aye.
Mr. Rivas.
Aye.
Mrs. Barber.
Aye.
Mrs. Witt.
Aye.
Mr. Carey.
Aye.
Mrs. Junk.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. And now we'll move on to new business. J1, announcement, recognition of Kaneland Foundation grant recipients.
As you know, every fall, the foundation has a golf outing, raises money, and the majority of the money that we raise, 90% of it goes back to staff and student grants. And so 10% of it goes back into the endowment fund, and the rest we serve out in grants. So what we've asked is Cheryl Crosby, if she would join us tonight, who is our former longstanding board member. I should have brought you a cookie. Sorry, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Probably looking jealous tonight on that one. Longstanding board member, and also she was our foundation president for about a year and a half, has stepped down from being the president, but was instrumental in shaping a lot of the things that you'll see tonight and hear tonight. So what we've asked is all of our grant recipients, if they were able to attend, and I see a majority of you, which is great to see you, just ask you to come up in a second. When I read your names, we'll just go right down the list. And if you would just take a second to share your grant, what you applied for, and kind of what you're using it for, and how it's impacting our students. And one of the things we tried to do this year was make a focus, and last year also, we tried to give priority to our grants that focused on personalized learning as part of our strategic plan. So I'm sure you'll hear some of that when they come up. So we will start with two staff members here at the middle school. Mrs. Is it Campisi for both? Spelled differently, but Lisa and Cynthia Campisi, please come up. Yes. That's what I thought.
All right. Yep, two not related, but both Campisis.
Oh, wow.
So I'm Cynthia Campisi, a teacher at Harder Middle School, 6th, 7th, 8th grade SPED.
I'm Lisa Campisi. I'm a social worker here at Harder Middle School.
Last year we started a peer buddy group here, just working with a lot of SPED students. We wanted to introduce them more to Gen Ed students, be more involved in other classrooms. So we piloted it last year.
Yeah, so we piloted, but what we did is we used a lot of our own money to do different, like, we had a pizza party, we did different crafts, activities, luncheons, ice cream. So we did ask for the grant, which thank you so much, because we're going to use that for all the different activities that we do this year. This year we went out and we asked the teachers to nominate different students, and not only did those students want to do it, which of course your daughter's one of them, which is fabulous, by the way. But then we had other students running up asking us to do it, and these are students that aren't the ones that you would think would want to do it. And it was just it's really a great thing, and it's not just great for our students with special needs, but it's also fantastic for our students that are just gen ed students, because we feel that they get more out of it than our special ed students. So it's a really great program.
Yeah, and some of the things that they'll be doing with them, we have calendars set up they'll be cooking and baking with my kids on Fridays. We have a supply shop that we run with Miss Ramos, the librarian. We raise money for the library. They have a register, real money. They have an actual store, so the kids will help with that. We have a lunch buddy program that we, again, instead of everybody sitting at one table, we want to see them making new friends, and meeting kids outside of my classroom, especially because they are together all day long.
Yeah.
So we want to see that. What else? Some field trips they may attend with us.
And then just including them in their lunch groups.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Mrs. Hay from John Shields.
Hi, so thank you all so much for the grant money. I spent it on flexible seating for my classroom, which has transformed my classroom completely. And it's been so cool to observe, because I looped from first grade to second grade with my entire class. So just to see their stamina go up, and just with their ability to work, and they're happier at school, and there's so much fewer behavior problems, because I think it has a lot to do with the flexible seating and just giving them the power of that choice in their learning and in their environment. It's been great. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Unger from Blackberry Creek.
I thought she would go last.
I think you stayed for the next one, right? Isn't there one?
Yeah.
Do you have two? Okay.
I actually have two. First of all, I have to give a shout out to my children at home who are watching on the live stream. I promised them I'd bring them home ice cream if they saw me. So shout out to them. So I actually wrote two grants, one myself, and then I have a teaching partner, Stephanie Ortigo, who couldn't make it. We were able to write one grant for math manipulatives. We are Math RTI at Blackberry Creek. And so we were able to buy a lot of hands-on materials. Things as simple as Play-Doh have transformed our room. We've been doing fractions, and we've been able to help the students understand what fractions are, to using it into multiplying and dividing fractions. And they are loving it because they have their hands in it, and they're able to understand it before we move to the concrete and the abstract, and it's making a world of difference. We've been able to buy some great books that we're using in some number talks before lessons that are encouraging mathematical discourse and really enhancing that instruction in their mathematical language. And then the second grant that we were so lucky to receive was for these little mini robots called Ozobots, and it's incorporating coding into math instruction, and it's a very, what I consider, basic level of coding and easy to get into, because you make them move through markers. So black is what makes them go, and then you use red, green, and blue to make them spin and do a tornado or move faster. And so one of the recent things we did with them is the kids showed rounding on a number line, and then once it got to the number it wanted, they got to do a cool trick, and they thought it was the greatest thing ever. So we have been able to really help these children understand math so much more, and so we are very appreciative. So thank you.
Mrs. Smith from Harder. Oh, I'm sorry.
Number 5.
Who else?
It's me and Mrs.
The team member had to schools.
Oh, okay. Thank you. you have to do all talking?
You know who I am.
And my name is Natalie Smith. I teach in the co-taught first grade classroom at Stewart. And together we were able to apply for a grant for our buddy program that we started last year. And kind of like you spoke about earlier, last year we spent a lot of our own money on our get-togethers. It's a buddy program between my first graders and your 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and we get to meet monthly. Last year they came to visit us. This year with the grant we're able to go back and forth. My first graders get to go to the middle school every other month, and they're coming to my school every other month. And we'll get to use the money for this year, things like our cookie decorating, a pizza party twice a year, sharing gifts with each other, and some of the projects and crafts that we're doing each time we get together.
And it is a Reading Buddies program, so we are purchasing books as well. So, yeah, we covered it.
Great.
Yeah. So thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next group from John Shield is Mrs. Olson, Mrs. Savillic, Mrs. Orman, and I was told just to say Mrs. Maz to keep it easy.
And we're from Stewart.
From Stewart?
Yes.
Yes.
So at Stewart, we asked for money to build a Lego wall. So we're taking a bunch of these and putting them on a wall at Stewart. And it can be used for a variety of different things, content area. So ELA, kids can write a story and then illustrate it using Legos and using stop motion or a green screen app to illustrate their stories. And math, it can be used for fractions and area and perimeter and shapes.
It's a great way for students to collaborate with one another, work on a vertical space instead of horizontally, so changing their perspective on something.
Another thing, teachers can also talk to students about how they feel when they're working on the Lego wall. Some kids might find it kind of zen-like and relaxing, and other kids might find it frustrating, and other kids might find it like kind of a challenge but invigorating. So then using that to reflect on their learner profile about their feelings about the activities that they're doing on the Lego wall. So it's something that can be accessed by all the kids for a variety of different reasons. So thank you so much. We really appreciate the money.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Mrs. Good and Mr. Almond from Harder.
My name's Kyle Almond. I'm a 6th grade science teacher and social studies teacher here at Harder. We got a couple of things through the foundation that Rainey's going to kind of talk about. Well done to her. Well done.
And he'll show you what they
That's
are.
right.
Yeah. So we're both 6th grade teachers here on the 6th grade white team, but all of our classes on the 6th white team will benefit from these. We originally wrote it because we were both teaching ELA, and he abandoned me and went to science, but we're still working together. But we purchased microphones and sound shields. We didn't bring that in, these recording sound shields, and then a couple of tablets as well. And this equipment allows our students to make some choices on how they're showing their learning in multiple classes in a variety of ways. So they can do podcasts, public service announcements, or show kind of their recorded discussions so that we don't have to be in each one of their discussions at the time when they're discussing, but we can hear them afterwards. And they're also compatible with the current Chromebooks so that they're easy for students to use. They're also good for them to take pictures or videos of what they've produced, and we're able to share those with parents and each other. And so we've also used them, or you actually have used them, Kyle, for learning how to code some applications for Genius Hour projects. And so we're really looking forward to seeing how students can use their imaginations to use these the pieces of equipment in ways that we haven't even envisioned when we actually applied for the grant. So we thank you for your generosity.
Thank
you. Mrs. Kukovic? Okay. For both of you. Okay. Mrs. Marsalis, thank you.
Hi,
I'm Sharon Marsalis, a 6th grade math teacher here at Harder, and I'm also representing Christy Kukovac, who's also a 6th grade math teacher but could not be here tonight. And we requested some noise cancellation headphones. And with our creative shopping and excellent use of math skills and coupons, we were able to get some very nice Bose high-quality noise cancellation headphones. A few years ago, I started shifting to a flipped learning environment. And last year, Mrs. Kukovac and I were collaborating on establishing some self-paced learning paths for students. And so in our classrooms at any given time, students will be doing lots of different things. We might have some who are watching videos. Some of them might be working with the teacher. Some will be working in small groups. Some of them will be doing independent assignments, and they might be doing assessments. And we found that it's a very lively environment, and sometimes that can be challenging for students. We did a survey last year after our first initial self-paced unit, and feedback from some students was, at times, it'd be nice to be able to block out some of the noise. And so we went to the flipped learning environment, or the flipped learning network, and found that a number of teachers use noise cancellation headphones. So we decided that would be a good thing for our classes. And that allows students who need to block out that noise to be able to concentrate better and do their best work still in that environment. And it's been working out very well. Students really love to use them. And Mrs. Kukovac also pointed out that in addition to just using them for our classes like we have envisioned, students also have been able to use them for fire drills. We have some special needs students who are very sensitive to noise, so they've been using them for that. And when we have assemblies, such as the end of quarter incentive that we did, it's very loud, and they were able to wear the noise cancellation headphones and then still go and participate and cheer on their teams, where in other years they may have had to just not be in attendance. So they've really been great for our students. We very much appreciate having them. And on behalf of Mrs. Kukovac, myself, and our students, we'd like to thank the foundation for their generosity and support. And our students also created a very big thank you card. And you can see already the number of students who are benefiting just this year. And, of course, they'll benefit in years to come as well. So I'd like to give this to the foundation.
Thank you. Mr. Lim and team, do you want? Missing one person, but
yes, we are.
Okay.
We'll talk for him. But real quickly, we just first, the Spanish team here at Harder Middle School, first want to thank you guys, the foundation, for your generosity. Unfortunately, one of our teammates here, Dylan Donnelly, could not make it, but he was the one that spearheaded the grant for this. So what we did with the money from the grant was we got these comprehensible input readers. And Ms. Gonzalez.
Yeah, so we asked for readers because we wanted to start our own FBR library, and research has shown that the more students read, they learn to acquire the language. So as Spanish teachers, our students are learning the language, and this is a great way for them to start being able to use the language, seeing it in context. These novels are more comprehensible, so they're not overwhelming with a lot of text. There's a lot of illustrations, and the novels themselves are compelling to the students, so they want to read them, and it provides useful opportunities for them to learn the language and acquire it.
And it's so to have that empowerment, where the students have that empowerment, where they could take a book that's about 100 pages, they could flip through it and say, wow, it's in a different language, and I understand this. Mm-hmm. That's so compelling for us, and just makes our jobs so much better. So once again, thank you. And
thank you.
Very much.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Mrs. Orman.
Hi, everybody. Liz Orman, 2nd grade at John Stewart Elementary. Last year we started a makerspace in our classroom. It was made up of really paper products and popsicle sticks and tape and yarn, and the kids loved it and became creators and makers. So this year we wanted to take it a step further. We wanted a little bit of technology infused in our program. So thanks to the grant, we were able to purchase 2 little Ozo bits. We purchased some electronic circuit boards, some 3D pens, and also everything we need to make some circuits in the classroom, so some copper tape and some batteries and some LED lights. Put all this together, and we use the engineering design process, and kids are collaborating and creating and working together, personalizing their learning. And we found that something magical kind of happens when students are allowed to define themselves as a maker. They became more creative. They set up their own personalized learning path in the classroom. They were in charge of their learning. They were engaged. They became problem solvers, risk takers, and collaborators. So thank you so much for the money. We will use it wisely. We appreciate it. And thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. Next is Mrs. Babbage, Mrs. Reilly, and Mrs. Rogers from Blackberry Creek.
Hi. We applied for a grant to put some flexible seating in our classrooms. We are all 4 or 5 ELA teachers at Blackberry Creek, so we work with about 150 4th and 5th graders every day, and with the grant money, we were able to purchase all of these kind of fun seating, along with some yoga balls that we didn't bring because they're kind of big. But the kids love them. They bounce. They love them. And it's been great for us, for the kids to be able to choose where they're sitting and where they're comfortable. It's kind of created a really warm and welcoming environment in our classrooms. These lap desks are big fan favorites in the classroom because the kids get to still have a solid writing surface, so they are able to still use the Chromebooks or use their notebooks and still write, but also be sitting in the corner or somewhere cozy. So it's been great for the kids.
For our movers, oh my gosh, I went on wobble stools have been really positive because they wobble. And the kids wobble and they don't fall off them, which is great. So no more chair legs up and over. They're allowed to wobble here, and I haven't, knock on wood, had anyone fall over yet. They've been really well receptive. I think looking back and reflecting on our purchase, this is our first time buying flexible seating, and so I definitely would be wanting to get more of these. The desks and these are definitely favorites.
They have bounced off the yoga balls from time to time, but they enjoy it and it gets them moving. So, but we're so grateful for the opportunity to buy these for our classroom. So thank you so much to the foundation. These are pretty cool too. These are like super inexpensive, but you wrap them around the chairs, and then it's like a giant rubber band for your chair, so the kids put their feet on it, so their whole bodies aren't moving. Their feet just kind of bounce up and down, so they're pretty cool. Yeah, feet fidgets, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Trembley? Introduce them, yes. Please, take the mic.
Hi, I'm Connor Anderson. I'm a 7th grader here at Harder, along with...
Hi, I'm Jackson Guidry, and I'm the...
we are with Student Innovation Club at Kaneland. Basically, what we do is we work with different types of technology. We've created a club for sixth grade, and we're here to thank you all for the donate the money for our T-shirts and the pizza party, and then
That's pretty much it. We also had a couple of supplies to work on projects at like posters and things.
Yeah, such as the Sphero, different types of technology. So, thank you. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add?
I just want to tell you guys thank you because it really helps the 6th graders, build their leadership skills for careers and future, future activities and things they're going to do. So it really helps the teachers by exceeding the teachers' expectations and what they already know, so it really helps them.
Do you guys want to introduce yourself, too? I don't know if we got your names down there.
Hi, I'm Amanda Barajas. I am a member of the SIG as well. I'm Casey Randall, and also a member.
And I'm Maddie Peters.
Thank you. The last group, I received an email from Mrs. Drips Paulson. She couldn't make it tonight, but she did want to say thank you. We provide a $300 grant each year for KAI, and this year one of the things that she specifically with her group wanted to target was trying to include some students that might be from underserved backgrounds and get them involved in in the arts and give them some opportunities they might otherwise have. So I'd like to thank Mrs. Dripps Paulson, in addition to all of our teachers for filling out the grants. It takes a little bit of work. It's a challenge to fill that out. And then also to our foundation members who meet at the beginning of the year, go through piles and piles of grants, and then select those that they're going to fund. So thank you for your work. I look forward to seeing more next year, but we're not quite done. I know Mrs. Crosby has an announcement or two.
It's always gratifying to see how well everything's working, but we could fund more grants if we had more money. So we're always in the fundraising mode, and our golf outing was our big fall activity. Coming up next, if you can mark your calendars, is a pork chop dinner. And the thing about this pork chop dinner is that you don't have to get out of your car. It's a drive-through dinner at the Lions Club in Elburn. It is February the 10th, which is the Sunday night before Valentine's Day. And you can buy a ticket from lots of different people. And it'll make great stocking stuffers for those people that you don't know what to get gifts for this holiday season. Give them a pork chop dinner. So I just ask for you to support that activity and any more that we might come up with when you see it's from the foundation. Thank you.
And I would just, again, like to reiterate and thank Mrs. Crosby. I think my first year and a half here as superintendent, we didn't have a foundation president, so we just kind of made things up as we went along and did our fundraiser. But now under Mrs. Crosby's direction, we added the pork chop dinner and a teacher appreciation event to end the school year. So if and when you see information on those events, please do your best to support those. And that way we can have next year twice as many people here accepting grants, because that would be great. So again, thank you for coming out. And thank you for all your work for our students. So thank you.
Mrs. Nichols. Thanks, Cheryl.
You can just say if you'd like. No, that's okay.
All right, so we'll move on to J2, approval of donations.
Yes, thank you. There are 3 donations noted for tonight at the agenda, so I'll turn that over to Dr. Fuchs, and she can walk you through each one of those.
So Fox Valley Career Center has received 2 generous donations in the last couple of weeks. One was money, $8,500, to be used toward electrical and HVAC equipment and supplies. That was given to them from the Technology and Manufacturing Association in collaboration with Granger. So that's a very generous donation. They also received $1,500 in money to use toward EMT equipment and supplies from the Sugar Grove Firefighters Association Auxiliary. And then the last donation that was received recently was $1,600 by the Epsilon Community Outreach, Amy Schmidt, for Young Knights Kindergarten Fair or registration. And so on behalf of these donors, we would like to ask the Board of Education to accept the donations as described. So we're very thankful for the generosity of these private companies and organizations for their donations to Kaneland and students.
Any questions or comments?
Grateful.
Thank you. All right, so I'd like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education accept the donations as described.
So moved.
Second. Any more discussion? No?
Mr. Rivas.
Aye.
Mrs. Barber.
Aye.
Mrs. Witt.
Aye.
Mr. Carey.
Aye.
Mrs. John.
Aye.
And Mrs. Pavlik.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. So we'll move on to superintendent report.
Yep, I have a few things to provide updates on. As I mentioned previously, the board and their dedication and hard work as they volunteer their time. Tomorrow night, right here in this room, we start our negotiations with our Kaneland Education Association. So that process starts tomorrow night, and then later this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and into the weekend on Sunday. We have a couple board members who will be attending the Triple I Conference. It's one of the few comprehensive opportunities for board members to attend workshops and for professional development, so we look forward to that. Last week, we had our monthly Taste of Kaneland meeting, and board members Rivas and Junk are on that board, or on that committee, so I'll throw it to you guys first if you'd like to share some of the updates. I know Dr. Fuchs and Mrs. Eggleston is also on that committee.
I spoke last time, it's your turn.
Those ideas keep coming, and things are coming, slowly together and forming. And I believe our next meeting is in January.
Mm-hmm.
So keep going in there and getting the ideas going.
Yep. And just as a quick reminder, if you're new or watching on TV for the first time or wherever you watch it from, our Taste of Kaneland is next fall. It's August 25th. It's end of our Kaneland 2020 celebration, or end of our Kaneland strategic plan. It's a celebratory event where we're bringing all of our communities together on the high school campus for fun and learning and appreciation of all of our students. So it's kind of what you just heard and saw from our staff that our students are doing, but an opportunity to come onto campus at the high school and celebrate all of our communities and students at the same time.
Todd?
Yes.
May I also say there is room for other people to help. This is the committee. There's a lot of people who are going to be involved with it. So people are looking for opportunities to participate. We will have it.
It's an open invite, yes. Also, next week on Monday and Tuesday, we have a series of staff development and school improvement plan days. Students are not in session next week, so Monday, Tuesday, our staff is working on campus hard on those 2 days, continuing our strategic plan and leading a number of opportunities. What's really neat is the number of workshops that our staff leads on those days. We have a number and even getting a larger number of experts across our district who provide professional development for their peers on those days. And then the end of next week, as you know, is Thanksgiving break on the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Therefore, it's a short work week, so the board packet, even though we're still at a board meeting and haven't even ended this one yet, our board packet will be coming out next Tuesday. So Beth's going to turn that around really quickly. Yeah. Sorry, Beth. Next week, and so if you have any questions after you get the packet, let us know. And that was all I had for board and superintendent updates.
Thank you. I just have two, and both of them are meetings. Our FAC met last week, and Shauna was there. We had an excellent discussion on the one-to-one, which we'll be bringing to you in December for more information. But as you know, one of our goals is to implement one-to-one beginning in fall of 19. And the FAC was one of the first groups to have that opportunity to talk about it and ask questions. And they were very positive in our moving in that direction. So I was thankful for that discussion. Secondly, our Health Insurance Committee meets on Thursday this week. And Gail, you should have received the agenda.
Yes,
so you should be all set. All right, and that's it for me for tonight. Thank you.
Anything else from the board? How about topics for future agendas? Not that either. All right. How about public comment? We'll say no to that as well.
This might be a record.
And there is no executive session. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Carey? So I guess I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn. I think we're out. So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Awesome.